Kept L. What up, fam? Secret Society Productions. It's a Secret Society Productions. Alpha Hex. I know y'all ready. Y'all been ready. I'm saying, Iron Sheep. Melanites were the first Asians and Mayans, the first sellout had the mindset I did. Albion Harvest, the first in fur coats. We first rode monsoons and papyrus boats. A set, the first immaculate conception. They stole the concept and Assad's erection. First baton ray of medicine, Imhotep. If Lucy's bones were a cartoon, she smurfette. I say baton ray, that's where we get farther. Paternal matriarch has been martyred. First knowledge we had has been bartered for idle gods instead of the universe charted. Our first schools didn't teach the mental bondage. Self-centered problems, no God, self-consulting. First rituals with bronze, not cauldrons. The first goddess and gods are now maximum carnage. Checkmate and get rushed or dumped in garbage. Flemmer and Reader was first in turf nonsense. Pioneers calcify and stay hard until we calcify. Act for over priests or Washington shamans. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. No need to represent. Been here, no need to represent. No need to represent. Been here, no need to represent. We were the first eating Tim Hortons for breakfast, exchanging energy for rims, Tims, and Lexus. We first spoke telepathic, no need to text us. High priests use storms with nature's trust. We first wrote scripts on walls, but not authors. Surgery and gene splicing, but not doctors. In his story, that's what they called us. First get a civil war, two and then more of us. First they called you Egyptians and now Christians. But you first to call the system, owing bitches. Rapping punks first to have an orgy with two dykes. Sleeping with dogs, use fleas and lice. I heard Exodus movements killed by sea tribes. First saw part one, not two more feet guys. Gangsters and banksters stole the first money. Credit cards by masters is money that's funny. They print the counterfeit but put a bounty on your head and call the sheriffs and the mountie. They call peace officers for calling racial tension. Seen streets are now centers of detention. UC's coming around doing inspections. They're still segregating us in sections. They're killing us all and adding the pioneer collection. Draws with goddess nipples and God's direction. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent. We are the future, past and present. Been here, no need to represent.
Albert Pike, isn't he a lovely fellow? Luciferian, head of the first founder of the Ku Klux Klan, 1866. And by the way, the only black leader I have any respect for is Malcolm X. You know why? Because Malcolm X said the Ku Klux Klan and the Nation of Islam have the same paymasters. And for that, they put him to death. And according to his wife, it was the high command of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, with the high command of the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, and Louis Farrakhan, all Masons of the Prince Hall Rite. And the Nation of Islam has nothing to do with Islam. They're fakes. It's just a hate the white man religion.
First creation and fall of man. Education of Mary and Liz and Zoan. The unity of life, Elihu's lesson. Death is a ministry. In Manetho's lesson, after the feast, we build with carpenter's tools on the life of Yahshua in the Muslim schools until the mass explain the meaning of truth. Yahshua reveals sinful ways when they stray from rules. At the feast in Bahar taught equality, and that between Allah and man is unity. Like Yahshua and Barada, we read scrolls sacred using eternal happiness to clothe the naked. In Egypt, among Gentiles, tremendous work. Defeat the three temptations to examine your worth. Washing your hands, can't clean karmic dirt. Lying disciples didn't steal the body and spur. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India, I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethren. Just as thusly broke from the monks Tibetan. As the Peruvian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle seven. Holy instructions and warnings to all young men. Marriage instructions, even duties of a husband. Holy instructions for children toward the mom and father's obedience. Holy covenant of nations Asiatic. Holy unity of rich and poor is in the attic. Master servant duty shall become a pleasure. Social duties by the prophet Allah's treasure. Justice, charity, gratitude, sincere religion. Know thyself, inhale the breath of heaven. Speak the soul of man, reach the wisdom pinnacle. The instability of man is no miracle. In constant weakness, cause knowledge is insufficient. Lower self has the higher self in submission. Inconstancy and weakness, it caused misery. Origin of Asiatic, start of Christianity. After we left the capital and fulfilled prophecy. Fallen sons of daughters, no hate, start loving me, your prophet. Without a rocket, meet you on the soul plane. Higher than siphon, 7 lines of cocaine. You won't have to do that to hear me speak. Open your heart to the Most High, bump into a sheep. Fez might be red, black, or blue. He might teach you about Bohemian Grove or Olokun. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India, I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethren. Just as thusly broke from the monks Tibetan. As the Peruvian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle seven. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India, I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethren. Just as thusly broke from the monks Tibetan. As the Peruvian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle seven. I'm taking you back, come follow me. You must study, so don't just follow me. In my territory, they call a province Moorish addict. Not a black power novice. Even bred black, green too for Marcus Garvey. Haile Selassie, the forerunner is Bob Marley. Some got it twisted like the fashion locks. Bigger, more niggas, keep counting the stocks. Picketing and fighting for rights, civil marching on blocks. Intimidated by the sons of waterhose cops. Matriarch rules, patriarch fools. The Satan's rabbis that now call themselves Jews. The only way they can be such as if he bruised. Share melanin slave whites with who he choose. Same weapon hit you as he slews. Picked up natural resources and tools. Vagabond Albion riding on mules. From Caucasia, now they have their own schools. Took all the wisdom with Solomon's seal. Made the swastika and that's where the shock was real. We get your some, they claim it as Africa. And hid all our ritual science and Wicca. God of trapped in the body tuned in divinity. Have a future, lost, infinity. Fake blunts rap saw with the face of Biggie. Men in the sheets and gun scabs run the corporate city. Hot mason cards from the church attendants. Straw men, if you are due to amendments. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. Listen, you hear, I'm more MC. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. Listen, you hear, I'm more MC. Higher self tap, lower self trap. Energy vamp, slip smack, and energy sap. Gods get possessed and his brother he'll clap. It's like the world is flat and we're off the map. Solar flares coming soon, touching the earth. I'll be on touching UV oil like a purse. You made some of us slaves cause we had you first. Stomp a baby to juice to quench your thirst. Our bad, now we playing on an even plane. I claim L, but you still own under a heathen name. Not begging reparations like a beggar nation. Not seeking veneration, just some ventilation. Ever since 1929, I passed away. My successor, Mealy Eel, not Kurtman Bay. My defender and vanguard, single #1. Told you get behind me when the fire comes. Nations exhume, and you're still cadavers. Following Europe and not your ancient forefathers. Dirty Moors act ruthless. Grand advisor, Mason Moore's work ethics ruthless. For assisting the fall of humanity into the depths of costume balls for vanity. ID cards will never give you birthrights. It's your volition that gives you birthrights. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. Listen, you hear, I'm more MC. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. I'm taking you back, come follow me. Listen, you hear, I'm more MC. Sherman production. Grand Iron Sheep. Imagine. Earth was one landmass, I was first. I touched on rights from birth, I'm not cursed. Still one landmass, I reach Atlantis. Fell in an abyss, now the first land split, Abyssinia. Let's make sense, don't forget. Still one landmass was Kush and Kemet. Branching south and north, east and west. Some stayed the path, some straight in experiments. A few ciphered, and many deciphered. Cracking sacred generic codes, creating a hybrid. By the time we reach age of Nor and age of Saw, Kemet fell and made the custodians Moors. You're probably asking what happened to Kush. Into Kemet is where he got pushed. Pyramids of Egypt show our greatness. Put ourselves on the wall so you can't debate this. Back on course, since I navigate carefully. Moors took the Nile back home to the Mississippi. Some took the knowledge over centuries shared with Spain. Thought they would see Northwest of Maxim again. By this time, the great earthquake shook the earth plates. And Harbor say Europe is their birthplace. When we had you rope the mountains caucus. Even scientists and politics have meetings caucus. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. A Moor is a black person, especially Negro. Claimed Jesus, son of God, under a steeple. Moors are Moabites, so was Ruth. Jesus' great grandmother is Ruth. Jesus is a Moabite too, so he was a Moor. Circle 7 was the 5 fish and 2 bread they saw. Buddha is a mind state caused by the mudra. Kali Yuga is the magic of the Kama Sutra. Spirit mother, black sons of God and man. Our niggas on the block with the Glock in hand. Niggas are the Nagas of Angkor Wat. When we lived abundant with Bangkok Nah. Here is where we enter new evidence of how the Satan rules, creating current events. Wrote the Albion were the creators, evil scientists that look just like us. Lost their pigmentation, didn't lose the knowledge. Infiltrated the hybrid seed to abolish. It's all in your blood, many watch faces and skin color. Misnomers classify races. A few learned a lesson, many chose to stay. The rest are just pawns in this global game of commerce. The universe, we are verse. Shaped Adams that stole the lesson, get you our curse.
Woo! Don't worry, that was Iron Sheik 2. Wait till Iron Sheik 7. Iron Sheik 7 is on the way. Don't worry. Hold on, boys. Hold on. I got one more for him. Before we start up, I got one more for him. We got to do this one for sure. We got to do this one.
It's true. You seek and you shall find. It's like Noble Drew Ali and the law.
Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. 'Cause Noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
They call me an Indian, but I'm Moorish American. How many wish death upon me? Many, many. Like 50 cent, they taking the dollars and giving a cent. Real money is gold and silver, but for these fiat, your own brother will kill you like Jesus and Judas. We honor all true divine prophets like Muhammad and Buddha. Confucius, don't try to confuse us.
Oh, it's so plain to see.
You know it's Tuesday class. We do what we want. We do what we want. Islam to all the boys. We do what we want up in here.
Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
They call me an Indian, but I'm Moorish American. How many wish death upon me? Many, many. Like 50 cent, they taking the dollars and giving a cent. Real money is gold and silver, but for these fiat, your own brother will kill you like Jesus and Judas. We honor all true divine prophets like Muhammad and Buddha. Confucius, don't try to confuse us.
Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
Higher abode, now here we go. You better watch the approach when you hear the flow. Drew Ali set the record straight and never hesitate, bringing nationality to every soul. In America, north, south, east, west coast, we got the remedies cause we need it the most. Know all the enemies are revealing they oath and leaving they post, but don't need to boast in this Moorish movement. The prophet played a major role. Ex-alpha climbing up the totem pole, as above so below. You better hold your own when battling with foes, making sure that all your strategies are bold. No matter where we go, yo, the family is known, cause we already know that the planet is our home. More navigators been traveling the globe. Now,
oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free. Cause noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
30 Moors killed my prophet Noble Drew Ali. He never left around the 501c3, a non-profit corporation. What you trying to kill the nation? My brothers and sisters, it's my inspiration in the young years of this Moorish nation. Whether you black, Chinese, or Haitian, the prophet taught the freedom Moors to found laws, act for, and you must live the life accordingly. Cause love, peace, freedom, and justice is what it's born to be.
Oh, yeah, the truth shall make you free. To coming the truth, it was my prophet to Ali. I wanted the truth. Oh, yeah, the truth shall make me free. To coming the truth, it was my prophet to Ali. Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali.
I'm Moorish American nationality. Peace.
Peace. Peace. Hold on, let me plug you in. Let me plug you in. Peace, Moors.
Yes, thanks for that, man. Peace, Moors, man.
Love.
Islam to the Canaanland Moors, man. Mighty Moors, God doing great Moors.
Give thanks.
That's
yo.
right.
Give thanks, fam. Give thanks.
Yes.
Give thanks.
Many of the few, man.
But before we start up, Islam Moors, peace and love. We're here. Canaanland Moors Tuesday class. We want to make sure we give our shout outs to all the Moors out there who know that they're Moors. And know that we've been had a holy covenant. So we know it's all love always. Peace and love to all Moors worldwide. We already know what's up. So there was a lot going on because I noticed that it's been a long time since people who know that they're Moors don't really represent like they're Moors. They're only Moors when Moors are around. When Moors not around, they're not Moors. They're black and conscious, whatever, and all this other stuff. So I was thinking about how do we show people, you know, what it means to be Moor, which is supposed to be getting us out of the mental slavery as well as the physical slavery. And I was doing some research, and this is information that we've probably been put out already, but has come back just to stress why we're doing what we're doing today for class. So there's this article, Baltimore Sun. That brimless hat signified style fez. In such countries as Morocco, Turkey, Syria, and Egypt, the tarbush has had a colorful political past, favored by king and commoner, and then banned by governments.
Wow.
Now, we're just talking about the fez. We're not even talking about nationality, birthrights. We're not even going into anything deep and heavy and get people lost. We're just talking about as soon as you look and you see a fez, you know that it's a Moor or it's probably a Mason. But more than likely it's a Moor, because Masons don't wear their stuff outside unless it's for the parade.
Facts.
So you know that fezzes represent Moors.
That's right.
So this brimless hat, that the Moors have, they're letting people know that certain governments, not countries, not nationals, not whatever, certain governments take a position of you can't wear a fez. Remember, this is, and then when we talk about misappropriate people's culture or whatever like that, look at that like this, or look at this like that. Because remember, they're still going to use fezzes.
Yeah.
Only the individual can't wear it, but they're still going to use fezzes. Fezzes is still going to be something that they use. So people who are on the outside now are looking at this like, well, if Moors wear fezzes and they're banning fezzes, then forget being a Moor. When that's misjudgment on their part for not really taking into perspective that even though these people in these governments have gone around the world and said, no, you can't wear a fez, there's still people who wear their fez.
It is all right.
And they don't give a what. We don't give a what anybody says about what a fez is and where it came from and whatever BS they want to talk about. So I said, yeah, I'll get some Moors who I know that it's fez up every day, all day.
All day, every day.
And let's find out from these Moors. Let's find out from these Moors if it's the same as what people are putting it off to be when they start bringing up Moors. First thing they want to talk about, oh, look at, they're wearing the Turkish whatever, or they're wearing the whatever. anywhere they want to go with it, just to try to get people to not recognize that this is where it's at. Right. Cam Newton doesn't give a what you guys say about a fez. He's gonna wear his fez. Andre's gonna wear his fez. Right. Even LeBron's gonna go out and put his fez on sometimes. Goes wherever he's going. It's only our people that's playing. So we're gonna once again, you know what I mean, yield the floor so that Moors who are really Moors could tell you. You don't have to listen to black guys to know what Moors are. Just ask Moors. Right. Ask the guys with the fezzes. Don't go to somebody else. Hey, why is that guy wearing that fez over there? Why don't you just go ask the guy with the fez?
Right. Long.
So before we start up though, you know, put yourselves on the record and all that and talk about how that video came about and that song and all that.
Okay. So, you want to start? You want to start more? Yeah, I'll start off. Oh, Islam. My title is Flying Gull, Islam Bay, and I'm out here in peace. Islam to all the Moors. Islam to all the unconscious Moors that have yet to be awoken. We always have to push nationality to the people to awake them so they can rise, you know, from the dead state of mental slavery. So our people suffer from this, from the lack of knowledge. So the song that we have is So Plain to See. And you know, I heard the beat, and this was like 3 years ago. I heard the beat, and I wrote whatever I heard the beat telling me to say. That's what I said, you know. So the first thing I heard when the beat came on, after playing it, it was saying, "It's true. You seek and you shall find." So then that was my first verse on it. And then I thought about it and I said, it's like Noble Drew Ali and the law was always on my mind. Because we are prophecies of what Noble Drew Ali made prophecies when he was in this form, you know, before he ascended. So that's what basically made me come up with the concept, like, this got to be a nationality song. Mm. You know, so originally I wanted it to be the name Man, which is Moorish American nationality, but we said, you know what, we want to name it So Plain to See. But it's so plain to see that nationality is what's going to make you free.
Straight up.
Because every nation has to have a nationality. That nation comes from your mother. She has the nation in her womb, or the eggs. So you can't get nationality from your father. You can only get it from your mother. She is the one that holds the nation. She is the womb man, the first man.
What do you say to the unconscious people that say, nah, it's his father first?
Well, I say to them, if they think that it's their father that is the one that is making the baby, then tell me if his father made him without his mother, or if any man on this planet can make a baby by himself. Prove it to me. Because until this day, no man can have a baby without a woman. So even if they artificially inseminate the baby in the womb, that's the only way he's going to have a baby. You know, so it had to be something. It had to be one before the other. They didn't come out as twins. So the woman had to be the one, because as we see today, she's the only one that can have babies. So when they look back in the Bible and they say, "Oh, God was in heaven and came down to make Adam and Eve," then you have to look at when it was up in the heavens, or so-called heavens, which is a state of mind that, oh, I'm gonna go make man. So then that means that man wasn't here. And if only a woman can make man, then God must be the woman.
Yeah.
Arm, leg, arm, head. She's the one that got the arm, leg, arm, head.
It's so
That's
plain.
Allah.
It's so
God.
plain to see. It's so plain to see.
It's so plain to see. Come on. Let's deal with science here. That's science fiction.
So how we came together to make this music happen now. I will introduce myself to the Moors. Peace to all the Moors in Canaanland. This is Nawiela Dasa Samuda Bay. I'm over here in New York territory, in Bronx, holding it down, representing for the Moors all day, every day. I love my Moors, you know what I'm saying, and I'm a proud Moor. I'm a Moor all day, every day. So I met this brother, Zamael, 3 years ago, and we've been brothers since, because he's a Bey like I'm a Bey, and I look at all Beys, all Els, all Days, all Ali, all Als, as all my brothers. Because we're what? One family. And before I even go in on anything, I want to read chapter 25 from the Circle 7 Quran, divinely prepared by our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, also divinely known as El-Al-Sharif Abdul Ali. And more, just keep this in mind, because we know that the prophet always said, Moors need to love instead of hate. So we keep love in our hearts, because that's what's going to really unite us as the Asiatic family. And with this, I say, I'm going to read this chapter real quick before I go in. And it says, chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. And it says, ye are the children of one father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother has given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger than thy own blood. If your brother is in adversity, assist him. If your sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to the love, to us all in the love we have for each other. So, that being said, I say I love being myself, and by me loving to be myself, I also love seeing myself in others. So I look at Moors as a reflection of myself. So when I met the brother Zamael 3 years ago, I was already studying Moorish science, but I just never physically met any Moors in person. And how it came about too, I was in my neighborhood where I domiciled in my territory, and I was in like a computer repair store, like a little technology store dealing with like different devices if you want to get it fixed, an electronic store. And we was having a conversation about the ancient ones of the Americas, because it was the indigenous Moor Indian that knew he was indigenous, but he was calling himself an Indian. He said he was an Indian. So he traced his bloodline and he found out that he was one of the native tribes. So we was building on the ancient ones, talking about the ancestors and all of that. And little do you know it, the brother Zamael walked in that store with his fez on while we was building on the ancient ones.
Yeah, I'm back, baby. Ancient back, man.
Allah's the greatest. Allah's the greatest.
And that was the first time in all my years I've seen a Moor in physical flesh right in front of me with his fez on in my presence.
Wow.
That's a fact.
Wow. That is crazy.
Fact,
so I was like, wow, this is a sign from the ancestors. from Allah. Praise be to Allah. Like, yeah, wow, the ancient one.
Wow.
So when I came to Moor, I agreed to Moor. I said, peace, Moor, Islam. I was asking him about like the temples and all of that, like where did he go to meet up and all of that. And he was telling me about some temple in the Bronx territory. I never got to go. We never exchanged numbers, no nothing. So we just built for a little bit. Then the Moor went about his way because he already proclaimed his nationality before I did. And the Moor went away by, but I was conscious. I was already aware that I'm a Moor. So he went about his way. I went about my way. So upon further study, I found out about the National Black Theater, how they be holding meetings there on Wednesdays with the Moors dealing with the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. So I traveled down to that location one night, and guess who I seen again? The Moor Zamael, and he was fuzzed up with like 4 other Moors fuzzed up.
Yeah, we take that down everywhere we go.
I'm like, wow, these Moors are serious. So the impression that I seen was that they had what? Race pride, like they loved who they were.
Straight up.
So I'm there building with the Moors now. I'm here pulling out all type of corporate ID, identifying myself. The Moors pulling out allodial IDs on me, like, yo, look, we got this, we got that, and I'm like, yo, no lie. I proclaimed my nationality that day, like on the record. On the record. And the Moor Zamael assisted me. He was actually one of my witnesses for my proclamation papers.
Islam. That's real. That is real.
So me meeting him now, he introduced me to Hammurabi Bey, who's the elder, and like mad other Moors from Mount Vernon territory.
Yeah.
So, and I seen how they were too. They was all wearing their feathers every day. So that made me starting to feel like, yo, this is truly how it's supposed to be. We supposed to be proud of who we are. And you're supposed to be identified also, because the term full life in purpose persona, full life, has to have a reflection. So if you don't have a reflection to reflect what that propria persona is, how could you say that you're in full life?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's Moors running around claiming to be Moors, but only wear their fez at a temple meeting.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then they put it back in their bag, in a black bag, you get from the corner store. And put it back in the bag, you know what I'm saying, and walk out. Nothing against Muslims, because it's Islam. You know what I'm saying? And have a kufi on.
So what I realized though is that the Moor had what the prophet said. He prophesied that the 3rd and 4th generation gonna come with their eyes wide open. And that there's going to be a time when you're going to see a sea of feathers and nobody could understand why there's so much people wearing feathers all over the place.
Yeah.
Yep. On the highway and the byway.
And that prophecy is being fulfilled in this present day and time.
Yep.
Because I've came across other Moors that wore their feathers to work. And I'm also one of them. I prepared myself to wear my feathers every single day without no hindrance. So that any job that I apply for, you know, we all got to be gainfully employed until we could do business on our own, commerce on our own. I do not know more that make their commerce however they make it, as long as they know they remain in who they are. So at my workplace, my supervisor called me by my Moorish title, but I'm working there under my straw. And I submitted a religious headdress affidavit to my employer. And I'm just going to read it real quick and then pass on back the floor to my brother so he could expound more on anything he want to expound on. So I'm going to go over this affidavit that I prepared for my headdress. That way nobody could tell me I could remove my headdress because I know who I am.
No.
So
let me ask you this question quick fast. Let me ask you this quick fast. With regard to the affidavit, is it something that somebody gave you, or based on your study, this is where you decided to go?
This is where I needed to go based on my study. I was able to collect information due to me knowing who I am. So I studied and I prepared an affidavit on my behalf so I could have something just in case they try to challenge who I am and tell me I can't do this and that. And then I have premise and how I could go about a lawsuit in the proper way. So, I mean, I haven't had any challenges yet.
Right. Which is what it's about.
I mean, I've had challenges, but I still haven't removed it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And I'm gonna get into those experiences too.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be too long-winded though, so I'm just gonna read the first part of it.
All
so
right.
I say, I now Dr. Sumoda Bey affirms that I am a member of the Moorish side. I'm a member of the Moorish American Society, Divine and National Movement, and I do hereby declare that I am a Muslim under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca, and I aligned with the Great Seal Law, being an active Moor of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple number 10. Therefore, I observe all constitutional and religious rights and immunities. The requirement of a colored photo / image on a license / passport, employee ID, etc. without my national headdress will place a substantial burden on my noble practices, motivated by my sincere religious belief. Due to my religious conviction, I assure that the most highest divine love be bestowed upon anyone who reads and comprehends this lawful document. I do not take any color photos / image for any identification purpose without wearing my religious headdress, whether it be a fez or a turban. By acknowledging this divine custom, I am in harmony with my life by its virtues and at peace for honoring my divine forefathers and foremothers. If any public servant / government official or agent / agencies that attempt to violate my constitutional religious rights, the full extent of the jure law will rise to defend against any discrimination. Moorish Americans are part and parcel of the free national republic of the United States of America. Justice must be served. And I put a title 18 subsection 247 that deals with damaging religious property and obstruction of person and freedom of exercising their religious belief. With that, I say Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam.
Islam. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm saying to all the Moors, wear your feathers. Noble Drew Ali put in the Moorish guide that you should not be ashamed of wearing your feathers and turbans to calm all you Asiatics in North America. To hear the truth about your birthright and your nationality.
Build about your experience with people when they see you with your feathers on.
Islam. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people see me with my fez on because I wear my fez every single day. I don't go outside without my fez on. So it's like, I don't know, once or twice I go down and go start the garbage bills, check the mail, whatever. But yeah, when I go outside, people see me with the fez, man, they always come up to me and ask me, hey, man, what's that on your head, man? What's that hat on your head? I'm like, yo, listen, man, this is not a hat. This is a fez.
That's every Moor's line. That's every Moor's line.
That's it right there. That starts the conversation. It's not a hat, man. This is a fez. Yeah, F-E-Z, fez. You know what I'm saying? This is my national and religious headdress. So, you know, I tell them a little bit about the fez, like, yo, listen, this is coming from my ancient forefathers. This is an ancient headdress. You know, it's over 100,000 years old that my ancestors was wearing this. And it's a symbol of the woman, the womb man. Because the fez is an actual uterus. It's the science of the woman, you know? So I break it down to them like that. I take off my fez and I show them, listen, you see this inside of the fez? That's the womb. You see, when I turn it back around and I show them outside of the fez, that's the color of the afterbirth when the baby comes out. And then I pull the nipple on the top, which holds the tassel together. I pull the nipple and I say, listen, this is a nipple. Then I say, oh, this is also the symbol of the breast, the titty. It's also the number one. It's also the symbol of the penis going inside the womb, going into the womb. And then I showed them the two tassels. I showed them the tassels. I showed them the two strings that's holding the tassel. I said, one is your umbilical cord. And I say, one is your etherical cord, which is your spiritual cord, is which when you entered into your mother and through her soft spot on the top of her head and attached yourself to her womb. And then that's the two cords, the umbilical cord and the spiritual cord. So then I go on to show them that the ball that's hanging from here it's a placenta. And that the cord that's holding the tassels together is called the cord of unity. And then I tell them it's 360 strands. 3 plus 6 is 9. And that's the number of completion. It takes 9 months to have a baby in the womb. And the 0 is the number of perfection. So that's what I tell them, 360 degrees, right? And then I show them the holes on the top of the fez, and I show them that it's 3 circles within each other. It's 4 of them. It's 1 on the left side, the right side, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. You know, and then I tell them, look, it's 3 circles in within. So 3 times 4 is 12. And then I tell them how if you add the 1, you have 13. But those 3 times 4 is 12, 12 signs in the zodiac. And then I tell them plus 1. That's the 13th sign that they never talk about. That comes from Zodiacus. So I say 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 times 90, those 390 degrees, those 490 degrees is 360 degrees. 3 plus 6 is 9. And that's how many months it takes to come out the womb. And then I show them that the sign that they don't talk about is the 13th sign, which is the woman. And then I tell them how the Gregorian calendar has 365 days. And they added a day for the leap year. But I tell them this is the science of the Asiatic woman, the Moabites. And I tell them, listen, that 13th sign that they don't talk about is because there's 13 months in a year. 7 days in a week. It's 4 weeks in a month. 7 times 4 is 28. The only month that has the correct days in it is the month of February. And then I tell them, okay, you see this ball on here is also the symbol of the moon. It's also the symbol of the sun. The sun goes around the earth 12 times a year. That's the 12 signs in the zodiac. And then I let them know that this also, the ball on the top, is the symbol of the moon, which is also a symbol of the woman and her menstrual cycle. Because the moon goes around the earth 13 times a year. And a woman has her menstrual cycle 13 times a year. So you take 13 and you times it by 7 days in a week, times 4 weeks in a month, that's 28 days. 7 times 4 is 28. 12 times 13, which is a menstrual cycle, is 364 days in a year. So they made a calendar based on the woman's menstrual cycle, and that she has her period, her menstrual cycle 13 times a year, not 12. So that missing sign that they don't talk about, the 13th sign, is the woman. So they X'd her out of the picture, took her science, and then made a Gregorian calendar and said, here, it is 12 months. And then they give you 31 days in this month, 28 in that one, 28, 29, 30, and that, and all of that falsehood and that lies. But really, the science comes from the woman. And this feather that I wear in my head, I'm living every day out of my life, 364 days. It's because of a woman that gave birth to all of us. That's why she is Allah. And this is what this fez is. It's the science of a woman. So this is not no secret society, and it's I'm not a Mason. Some of them be asking me if I'm a Mason. They're like, no, I'm not a Mason, but you have a mother and you are her son, so that's a Mason, my son. So and a lot of them think I'm trying. I said, no, that's not this. I don't. We don't hold secrets and all that stuff. We teach you about your birthright and your nationality. So, a lot of people just ask me, and I just tell them, going to the stores, in the corner stores, you have the Arabian brothers in there, like, oh, I like your hat. We're like, no, it's not a hat. It's a tarbouche. Oh, yeah. It's a tarbouche. So where's yours? Yeah, I know. You went in that room before you came over here, and they told you when you get over there, don't talk to those black people and don't talk to those Puerto Ricans and tell them that they Moors.
No, okay.
Or else we're gonna bring you back.
Let me ask you this. Now, has there, because we get those type of people when we were Fez, right? We get those ones who they don't got one and they're trying to, pretend like they don't know, right? But have you had any people that were on the other side that were actually honest with you with regard to, them not talking to our people or, how they do business and, they only do it amongst themselves while our people are ignorantly not even wanting to work with each other? Like what type of instructions, I guess, you have gotten from wearing your friends through having conversations with people who are other nationals from wherever?
Well, a lot of people from other nationalities and places, they know who you are. They know who we are as us calling ourselves Negro, colored, and Black, African Americans, etc. They know who we are, so you know they like some of them be like, you know, I know you, I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they ain't none of them ever said to me like, yo, yeah, you are more. I know you are more. You're Moroccan, right? A lot of them don't say that, but it's been one or two people that say, oh yeah, that's from Morocco. Yeah, I remember that in Egypt. You know? And my grandfather used to wear that. You know, that means high rank. You know, that means the one, you know, of power. And I was like, yeah, you're right, you know. And sometimes they ask me if it's from over there. I tell them, no, it's not. It's from over here. Al Morocco. Al Maghreb Al Aqsa. So once I say Al Maghreb Al Aqsa, they understand and say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm from the Moroccan Empire. Like, oh, okay, I see. I know what you're talking about. Exactly, you know what I'm talking about. Why are you hiding it from the people? You know, so really, it's not a lot of them that will come out and say, you know, that you're I know who you are. You're a Moroccan, and tell people they don't do that because they swore not to. You know.
No,
I always ask them, where's your feds?
Yeah, and no answer.
Like,
it's home.
couple brothers that I told that to, man. You see them put on their feds. I'm like, yo, man, yeah, where your feds, bro?
For real.
And next thing you know, I come in the 99-cent store, the brother got his feds on. I'm like, yeah, exactly. You only wear it to dinners, man? Stop that. It's crazy, you know. This needs to be known. The people of North America and abroad need to know of their birthright and their nationality, you know, so that they will wake up and we rise up against all the hate, you know.
Okay, Islam. Let me take back the crown off the floor right now, speaking about our crown, man. Islam. This is Nario back on the floor. I had a recent experience with a traffic stop. This was not too long ago. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm just going to bring it up just to show you. It's like your ancestors vibrate with you if you're in tune. So once you're honoring them, they will always be with you. They don't leave you alone. They make sure everything go according to divine. So I had a traffic stop. I was traveling on my way home in my conveyance. And it was like after midnight, you know, late night, you know, they always had the boys out there lurking. So I'm traveling, you know, fezzed up as usual, always have my fez on. And they pulled me over. Need to tell you more, we travel, there's more over here traveling too. So I travel as who I am, and I know I'm the free man on the land, so I don't need permission for nothing. So the undercovers pulled me over. There was three of them. It was two Europeans and one Moorish Latin brother. The Moorish Latin brother came to my window while the Europeans was on the other side. But I think the Europeans had more rank. I think one of the Europeans was a sergeant. So he pulled me over. He's like, license, registration, and insurance. So I said, why are you pulling me over? So his reason was, his probable cause was that my license plate don't match my vehicle. So I said, okay, so what's the problem? And he was like, well, we just want to make sure everything is all right. So I'm like, okay. So I said, look, I don't have no registration. I don't have any insurance. I'm on my way home. I just got off work. Here's my work ID. I gave him my work ID. He said, you don't have a driver's license? And I said, yeah, I do commercial business during the day, but I'm off duty right now, so I'm just traveling, heading home. So he was like, well, let me just see your license or whatever. Because I do commercial driving, so that's what I do as a living. I do drive commercially. So I was like, well, I'm actually off duty, but since you insisting that I give you one, I'm just do so under threat, duress, and coercion. So I gave him the license so he could run whatever, make sure everything clean. All that is under my straw. I'm sharing this with the Moors to show you how they deal with us, especially when you remain in honor. Moors listening?
Yes,
Okay. So speeding up now, fast forward, the Sarge was lurking, so he wanted to give something to me to make it seem like, okay, he ain't making me go so easy. So they questioning me about the vehicle, or where did I get the plates from, all these different things, and I'm letting them know that, yo, the vehicle is not mine. I'm actually traveling in it, and it belongs to someone else, which is a relative of mine. So if you want to get in further details, I'm not giving him too much. I'm just answering straightforward questions he's asking, and I'm just giving straightforward answers, just keeping it plain. Long story short, they came back to the vehicle, told me to step out the vehicle, and then I said, for what? He was like, well, the plates came up that the plates were stolen, which I know was a lie. But since they want to play that game, I let them play that game. So they what you would call kidnapped me. They threw the cuffs on, took me into the precinct. They took my vehicle, told it to the police pound or whatever. So while I was traveling to the precinct with the cop, the arresting cop, he gonna tell me, oh, you know, you're gonna have to take that hat off. So I said, yo, look, I'm not taking off my headdress. This is my national headdress, and it represents who I am. I am a Moor, I'm Moorish American, and I'm Aboriginal indigenous to the land, and I'm not taking off my headdress. So he said, all right, I'll see what the sergeant says. So while he was taking me in the precinct, he said to his sergeant, oh, he said he's not going to take off the hat. I said, look, you're going to have to put some respect on my headdress. This is called a tarbush, not a hat. This is my national headdress. So he was like, oh, excuse me, he's not going to take his tarbush off. So the cop corrected himself to his superior work employee and spoke it in honor, respecting what I told him to. Like, put some respect on my headdress. It's not a hat, call it tarbush. So while going through proceedings now, I'm in front of the desk clerk when you walk in the precinct, all that. They got the cuffs on me, they searching me, tapping me down, ready to vouch for my stuff, all this stuff, right? The whole time they not touching my headdress. My headdress still remains on, my crown still remains on my head. So the sergeant now came, went in my back pocket, took out my wallet, looked at all my allodial IDs with my Moorish appellation, put it back inside my wallet, and put it back in my pocket. Remember, they got me under the straw.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I said to the arresting cop, like, yo, look, I'm going to need to make a couple phone calls, so you're going to have to get my cell phone from me that you left in my vehicle. So he was like, okay, no problem. So he went and got my cell phone for me and brought it to me while I was in the holding cell to make my phone calls.
It's love.
So what I'm realizing is how they are dealing with me. And they're dealing with me like I'm not a black Negro color guy. Because they already see the honor that I uphold by me letting them know that you need to put some respect on my headdress.
Mm.
So they started speeding up the process now. Like, yo, we trying to book it. Yo, you be out by the morning. Like, yo, don't worry about it. We going to get you out, da-da-da-da. So keep in mind, they got me booked for a misdemeanor They call it petty larceny because they trying to say the plates that was on my conveyance was not the proper plates. And it was read that the plates was quote unquote stolen, right?
Right.
So I'm going through bookings now with the headdress on and everything. Nobody never seen nobody walk in the bookings in my territory with that headdress. You should see the awe on all the CEO's faces. They're looking at me like, which got this in our custody? Which noble man y'all have in custody? Because there's no way you're gonna tell me this man did anything wrong. I see his aura. His aura is clean.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the angel when I walked in. So guess how they was dealing with me now? So this is how they dealt with me. They couldn't touch my headdress. So they had to uncuff me so I could lift my headdress up so they could see that there's nothing inside of it or under it. And then I put it back on. But here how the CEO addressed it. She's like, excuse me, I'm gonna need you to take your crown off, please, so I can check to see if anything is under it. She called it a crown.
Mm-hmm. You know she couldn't get her claws in it.
Crazy.
She couldn't touch it. And that's exactly what she said to me. She said, oh, I don't want to touch your crown. So I said, okay, I see how y'all dealing with. So they put me in a cell with two unconscious Moors now. So as soon as I walked in, it was a Moorish Latin brother and an Asiatic brother. They asking me now, who am I? Like, who are you? Like why are you here? So I keep it short. I said they got me in here on some BS, some fraud, as usual. And then they was like, so what's your religion? Like, what are you? Like, so I said, I'm a Moor. They said, what is that? So I said, the Moors are the so-called black Negro colored that forgot who they are. So I'm being demonstrating who I am, and they seen it as something in high esteem. So they're looking at it like, wow. Yeah, it got so crazy that they started calling me Aladdin in there. They was like, yo, but they don't even know that Aladdin is a prince.
Yeah.
They was like, oh, that's the more Aladdin over there. Thinking they making fun of me, but they don't know that they giving me big props.
That's the ancestors.
Yes, and I'm doing building with them, letting them know that they're Moors too. I just don't know it. Mm-hmm. And one of the brothers like, yo, that joint look like cool, like I would wear it. Like they basically said they would wear it because they're looking at it like it's fashion. Long story short, now everybody waiting for the magistrate or the legal aid, so-called legal aid, to speak to them so they could go see the magistrate so they could determine what type of decision going to be made, what kind of adjudication going to be made on their behalf. But the whole time I'm there in the holding cell, I'm not holding no conversation with nobody. I'm to myself and I'm just meditating on my divine spirit. They held me there for 12 hours. On the 12th hour, I heard my straw called. So I stood up and they was like, oh, that's you, Moore? Okay. So I said, yeah, that's me. And I said, peace, y'all. Y'all be easy, all the best. But guess what, though? There's a hallway, and that hallway leads to two different paths. One to the left and one to the right. If you're going to the right, that means you're going to see the judge or the magistrate. But if you go to the left, that means you're going back out from which you came. So when they called my name, they took me back to the left and not to the right. So I said to the cop, and it wasn't even a CEO, it was a cop that came to get me. So I said to the cop, like, what's going on? He was like, I guess you're going home. So I said, oh, really? So I said, what happened? He was like, yo, they dropped the charges. So I said, oh, really? You know, they took the Moor right back out through the door that I came in. I ain't seen no judge. I ain't signed no paperwork. They just said, have a good day. Stay out of trouble. And I said, Allah is merciful. Have a good day. And I just walked right out, Mo.
Islam.
And I hear Moors talk about this all the time, but I had to experience it. And ever since I've been wearing my fez faithfully for the past 3 months now, because I haven't been wearing it every day since the past. I started dedicating myself when this spring equinox just came, our new year, our equinox bringing in the new year. I think to myself, like, if I'm really going to take my nationality serious, I'm going to be myself at all times. It don't matter where I go, I'm going to be carrying my ancestors and moving in the divine spirit. And that's what I did. And from that day forth, I've just been getting nothing but love vibration from everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. And that's why I was able to make that video with that Jewish European man. And I know y'all seen the video. And he was surprised. He said, yo, you wearing a fez? And I was at work. And he recognized the fez. He was my passenger. So I said to him, like, yo, you mind me recording you? Because we was building, and he was telling me that when he was a teacher in public school 20 years ago, or whatever years he was doing teaching, he was teaching Moorish science and Moorish history, not Moorish science, Moorish history in public school. And that he knew that the fez represented the Moors. And then he spoke about how the Jews and the Moors were one of the same. Because we had the similar experiences getting expelled out of Europe. And everybody I've encountered for the past 3 months within my field of work, because I meet a lot of people, all I get is, are you a prince? Where are you from? What country? What? Like, they basically look at the fez as a crown. Like, they looking at it like I'm a noble man, and they know it represents nobility. I met brothers from the Ivory Coast. I met brothers from Palestine. I met brothers from Saudi Arabia. I met brothers from Egypt. I met brothers from Ethiopia, all over the world, and everybody say that fez represents prestige. They said only honorable men wear those headdresses. With that, I yield the floor. Islam, Moors.
Islam. I wanted to ask this question.
I wanted to.
Yeah, one second. If you could remember, that thought, but I wanted to ask you a bit about this one because it came up already. You are members of the Moorish Science Temple, so speak about speak about your temple. Speak about your temple, the temple that you go to your meetings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know, what's your temple? Who's your grand sheik and all that stuff? What do you learn there? What's taught there? What's the vibe? You know, let us know about your temple, because there's a lot of people scared of the temple because they think it's just, you know, house of worship for Moors or something.
I mean, we could both go back and forth on that one if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like to tell you the truth, the brother Zamael, he's a faithful Moor, and he's an honorable Moor. He does a lot of research, and because of him, I'm at where I'm at, dealing with the Moorish information and being who I am in my full life, Topia persona. He was the one that actually found the temple. Because when I first came in the movement, I was attracted to the national side. We both came through the national. No, matter of fact, I can't speak for him. I'm gonna just speak for myself. I came through the national side. I was never a temple goer. I never knew about no temple. I mean, I heard of it, but I never went to any temple. I just dealt with the national side because I like the whole concept of being free, because I always been like that all my life. I was a free being. I just never knew myself. So when I started getting knowledge of self now, it gives me more like courage to start like exercising my freedom. So when I met the brother Zamael, he was already in a temple, and then he found out that the temple he was in, I don't want to speak for him though, that it was a 501c3 temple. So he found another temple that was not a 501c3 temple, that's not under the Vatican, that is under the Prophet, and that's temple number 10 in Asbury, New Jersey, with the Grand Sheik being Nature El Bey, Noble Nature El Bey. And we traveled out there. They actually traveled out there before I did. But when I traveled out there, I met Nature. Nature was a divine being, man. He was a different type of being. He was very humble cover. And he never really like came off like he was like a churchy type of person. Like he was very knowledgeable on both the national and the divine side. And it just felt like I was home. So that was the only temple I've actually felt like that. I visited another temple in Brooklyn territory. It was actually the same temple that's naturalizing people, those Temple 13 Moors. So when I went there, they were trying to tell me that I needed to naturalize. And I'm like, nah, that didn't sit right with me. So I visited that temple like 2-3 times, but I never became a member. Because even though I came from Jamaica, what they call the islands, I always knew I was a Maroon, because my great-grandmother was a Maroon, and my great-grandfather and all of them were Maroons. So we knew we lived differently than other, like, even though we practice a so-called Christian culture, our Christian culture was more towards indigenous Rastafari Judaic type of practice. So like my auntie, she spoke Hebrew. We kept the Sabbath, the Shabbat, on the 7th day. So I grew up like that. But we weren't really churchy people. Like we never went to church. My grandmother never went to church. We just read the Bible. And we just kept certain principles based on what we learned from reading the Bible. So like Nature now, when I met Nature was like kind of like a big brother that knew how to demonstrate what the prophet left. So it was natural for me to like gravitate towards that on the divine side. So I never really experienced nothing other than somebody that knew what they was dealing with. And with that, I yield the floor. The brother could speak on the topic.
Islam. This is Flying Dog Zamael Bey. I'm gonna expound on my experience of coming into the Moorish Temple of America and my temple that I go to, which is in Asbury Park, New Jersey territory. And my Grand Sheik is Lord Noble Nature El Bey. Yes, so my experience in the temple is that they deal with both sides of the movement. They don't just deal with the divine side and don't teach the civics, which is cultural, customary law, which is the national side. So my Grand Sheik, he expounds on both. You know, the divine side, you can't have the divine side without the national side, and the national side without the divine side.
What more? Was you a temple member of any other temple?
Yeah, I was a member of temple number 21 when I first started going to the temple. It was temple number 21. You know, I have a brother. His title is his name is Moorish Vidal Rashim Bey. You know, so me living in Brooklyn with my children. I was in in the downstage at that time. I was in a shelter with my children. You know, and by me going to get some clothes to go to school in September, I met a brother down there, and he gave me a conscious DVD. You know, $10. He said, "Yo, listen, man, just look at this right here. You know, it might cost $10, but you know, it's worth it." So the first thing I watched was Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, and you know the name of the ships and all of that. You know, one was named Jesus, Santa Maria, and the Pinta, and then so he was like, "Yo, the video is telling you about how every person that went into the ship was called Eve 1 and Adam 1, Eve 2 and Adam 2. So that's showing you that what was being done to our people." Well, anyway, I went to the temple in Brooklyn, New York, temple number 21, and we were going there, and they would make us, do so many meetings for us to proclaim our nationality. So once you proclaim our nationality,
what was your appellation then?
My appellation was E.A. Burnett Bay. So that was Egbert Augustus Burnett Bay.
So you basically hyphenated your bay.
Yeah, basically annexed the bay on it. And I wasn't able to choose like if I wanted to be a L or a bay. You know what I'm saying? So that was stripped away from me. And they wanted me to give them my social security card, my birth certificate, you know, so they could be the trustee of the Sister Cake Trust because they're a 501c3 temple. And I didn't know that at first. You know, so what my experience with that is that I'm going in there and I'm learning about the prophet and you know some things he did, and they giving honors to these people, like they giving honor to C. Curtin Day, the F. Nelson Day, J. Blakely Day, you know. So I'm trying to figure out who these people are. So I did my research and I came up on this page, called Moorish Origins by Dr. Ali Bey. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Ali Bey, now I printed the whole thing out, you know what I'm saying? Called up the brother Moorish, you know, and because of my blood pressure, I couldn't read that well and mess with me or whatever. So I gave all the stuff to him, all the DVDs, and I gave him the Moorish Temple of America Holy Quran when I was staying out there in Brooklyn. I had purchased a Moorish Temple of America Quran from this brother named Ezekiel.
What year was that?
This was 2012.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, "Yo, yeah, man, this is the real Holy Quran right here, man." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Word?" He's like, "Yeah, this is not the Muslim Holy Quran, man. It's the Moorish Temple of America Holy Quran." I was like, "Word?" Like, "Yeah, man, $30." I said, "All right." I bought it.
So you bought your first Quran for $30.
Exactly. on the street vendor. On a street vendor. You know what I'm saying? So I bought it, you know what I mean?
He had the selling pitch too, huh?
Yeah, he had the selling pitch, you know what I'm saying? But he used to sell me like little toys for my children and all that.
Okay.
Before I got the Quran from him. I always see him, and then I bought it on the day when I had got some money. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, I gave the brother Mauricio the Holy Quran because I never read it, and I gave him all his 60 different conscious DVDs. So he read it, and I gave him the DVD from Todd's traffic driver's license fraud. So, you know what I'm saying? So he's watching it, Mauricio, he watching it, he like, "Yo," he called me up like, "Yo, bro, man, I was just watching this Taj Tariq Day joint, man, and the driver's license fraud, and he mentioned the Moorish Science Temple of America. So he's like, yo, man, I remember you gave me a book. I said that same thing. So I went and I read it. So he read it twice that same night and called me in the morning. And then he was like, yo, man, I found these two temples. I mean, temple number 34 and temple 21. So I was over there that Thursday. And then the Friday, we went on the holy day, and we went over there and got to temple 21. And the brother was like, yo, listen, how'd you find the temple? Like, this was a secret. Like, yo, how you find the temple? Yo,
hold on. For the past about little while, the story's so good, but we're getting some type of feedback right now. I don't know what the hell it is.
I don't know what it is. I don't know, man.
So I was gonna say,
too much good stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll disconnect. You know, they probably got this line, so we'll disconnect, and you guys set up, and I'll call you back in 2 minutes.
All right, no problem.
All right, I'm gonna call you back in 2 minutes. All right.
All right.
There's a lot more. So that was the first half. That was the first half. You know what I mean? Go get your little drink or whatever. You know, go use the potty. Go use the potty and all that. You know? Because we're about to go back in. Yeah, get the popcorn and stuff like that. I know I didn't want to move either. I went to go get some cashews a couple of times. Just make sure. Yeah, they're trying hard. They're trying so hard. You know, we can't knock them for trying, though. You know, they got to try. Can't knock them for trying. You know, you cannot knock them for trying. There's a lot, boy. Hold up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds better.
It's long. Yeah. So yeah, more.
Yeah. Go ahead, more.
I'm gonna continue to more so to go in on when I was younger. You know, I was probably about 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? On the corner doing street stuff or whatever. You know, and one of the brothers' cousins came up to us. His name is Shimoshi Bay. You know what I'm saying? He saw us how we was reckless there on the corner doing stuff. So he said he came in so that he wanted to teach us some knowledge, and he used to wear the fez. You know what I'm saying? But he was a Freemason. But he was teaching us the science, you know what I'm saying? Teaching us more science and telling us about Morocco and that, you know, they got Morocco and England and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't catch. And he knew about the prophet at that time, but he never taught me about it. But at the end of the day, we was, you know what I'm saying? It would be a couple of us, like 3 or 4 of us, you know what I'm saying, on the corner, wearing the fez, no markings on it, wearing the fez, you know what I'm saying? The police would drive by and we would shoot signs. He would teach us signs to shoot to them, and they wouldn't mess with us or nothing. Like, they just kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is when you were 14? Yeah, this is when I was 14 years old. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Till I was about 16. And then everybody started going in the gang, the blood stuff, and everybody left it. So basically, y'all used to wear the fez on the corner. Right, but I knew nothing about Noble Drew Ali at that point in time. He was teaching us Moorish stuff, that we Moorish and all of this stuff. But he never told me about Noble Drew Ali or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyway, let's fast forward back. We went to the temple. The Mufti was like, yo, man, wait, how you found the temple? You're like, what you mean? I'm saying, like, yo, I got the Holy Quran. We Googled it. Yo,
Google? What's that? What are you talking about, Google? What are you talking about?
Boy, like, you ancient Moors, man. Come on, man. You better wake up. And tell the people who they are. So, yeah, we went in, you know. But it was like, oh, you got to do
you got to do 10 weeks to proclaim your nationality. So I'm like, okay, I knew nothing about it. I'm like, 10 weeks. Cool. 10 weeks, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 weeks. 10 weeks, man. And what happened is that I'm on my, they said consecutive, you have to come Friday and Sunday. So I'm like, all right,
for 10 weeks.
10 weeks straight. So we in there. You know what I'm saying? I only missed one meeting, you know what I'm saying? But I went to 19 meetings. By the 19th meeting, the sister, she like, yo, you ain't proclaimed your nationality yet? I'm like, what you mean? You said 10 weeks straight. She like, oh, next time when you come, you're going to be able to proclaim your nationality. So I'm like, all right. Like, yeah, bring your social security card. Your birth certificate. Oh, man. So, yeah, I brought it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the Moors, after we got the literature and we got like the Branch Temple information, started finding out what the prophet was talking about, how, oh yeah, don't burden my Moors. They've been through enough. They're supposed to be able to proclaim their nationality as soon as they walk through the door, like the same day. And that's just like, hold on, the temple is giving us this? And you telling us that we got to come here for 10 weeks straight?
10 weeks.
Hold on. So we came up, me and Mauricio and the brother Kuka L. We was like, yo, you know what? Yo, we're going to the temple, man. They used to tell us, oh yeah, don't listen to that brother Taj. This is what they telling us in the temple. Don't mess with them Great Seal Moors.
Wow.
I didn't even know who y'all was. I'm like, yo, yeah, don't mess with them Great Seal Moors, you know what I'm saying? Don't mess with Taj. They not right. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't even care. I didn't know who he was or nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, hold on. So now basically we came up with a plan, like, all right, well, now we know from the Branch Temple information.
Sorry, don't let me cut you. I just have to say, like, that's how, like, when you think about malicious intent to lead people astray, like, you don't even know Taj.
Word. It's long.
You don't even know who Taj is.
Nope.
Them saying that has no relevance in what you're doing with regard to Moor or whatever. That is crazy. That's crazy.
True, Moor.
Yeah, man. So sorry to interrupt you, Moor. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. So basically, you know what I'm saying? So now we get the Branch Temple information because now we member, so now we can get literature. So we got the literature. And we went over it. I said, yo, Moore, yo, you see what this says right here? And he made a copy, and we made a copy for the other brother, and we all studied it. And then we like, yo, we're going to meet up on a temple on a Sunday where we can just talk about anything, not the holy day. So I was like, all right, cool. So we all met up, and the brother Kuka, you know what I'm saying? One of the brothers was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? The more Kuka was like, yo, how you going to tell us that we need to come to 10 weeks of the meetings to proclaim our nationality when in the Branch Temple information it says the prophet said, do not burden our Moors. And they've been through enough. They're supposed to be able to proclaim their nationality as soon as they walk through the doors. Grand Sheik was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, okay, you sorry, okay. So how come the Branch Temple information says that you're supposed to sit us down and tell us about nationality and birthright? And y'all haven't done that yet.
What's this? This is more than 10 weeks now?
Yeah, this is more than 10 weeks. After we proclaim our nationality after 10 weeks. And then got information and literature.
That's rough.
So we're bringing it to them now, like, yo, hold on. Hold on. How come this says on the back right here? This is my question. So the brother from what's his name? Something Bay. I forgot what his name was. But he was like, yo, how come you be going out to the Black National Theater? So the more Kuka was like, what you talking about? if I was down at the Black National Theater and you saw me down at the Black National Theater,
Where was you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yo, it turned up in the temple. Yo, the boy was like, yo, man, what you talking about? So then the Grand Sheik and the Grand Governor, they're like, yo, relax, Moors. Why you getting all hype? Like, let the brother speak. And how you know? You can't judge the man like that. If he wants to go down there and sit down and learn lessons, he can do that. So they was upset with him, and he's supposed to be a mufti in training at MIT, and he's acting like that. So we calmed it down. You know what I mean? So then my question was like, yo, why on the back of the questionnaire says the Moorish Temple incorporated the Moorish Temple of America? You know, how's that possible? So he was like, yo, yeah, you know, well, this is how it was. So I'm like, well, what happened to the civics organization? He's like, oh, it was no civics organization. The Prophet never mentioned nothing about no civics organization. So I'm like, this is the Grand Sheik talking to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you mean you ain't mentioned nothing about it? Like, I said, do you have an affidavit on the back of the questionnaire registered in Cook County, Illinois, under the same Smith-Hurst revised statutes? And he was like, yeah, I have one. So I'm like, yo, well, you got to bring it to the temple so we can see it. So he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring it. But once he said that there was no civic organization, the secretary is his wife. So she came out the back and was like, Islam, stopped everybody. Islam. So he's like, all right. And she's like, Islam. Yeah, right here it says that in 1913, the Prophet established the old Canaanite temple. Then in 1925, he established the Holy Temple of Science, which was a civic organization. And then in 1928, he established the Moorish Temple of America. So her husband was lying, so she came out the back like, hold on. What you mean there was no civic organization? Shut him down in front of all of us. And Moors was leaving the meeting. Moors, you know how you're supposed to read the divine warning? And you're not supposed to stop. You're supposed to read the whole divine warning. That's supposed to be read at each meeting in the temple.
Yeah.
The assistant grand governor was reading it. He got a phone call. He looked at the phone call. He picked up the phone, looked at it, put it back down. It rang again. He smacked the divine warning on the Grand Sheik's chest. Bow! On his chest, was like, yo, I gotta go. So he smacked the pamphlet on his chest and walked out with the phone. Like, peace, Moors. I'm like, wow. Who was making Moors get up and leave? Like 5 different Moors got up and left. That's supposed to be there to take. That's supposed to be muftis. That's supposed to be secretaries. Assistant grand governors, they all got up and left, bro. Wow. You're supposed to read the whole divine warning. He smacked it on the ground. Imagine somebody reading some of the divine warning and then stops in the middle, looks at his phone, and then takes the divine warning and smacks it. I mean, he smacked it on the Grand Chief's chest and gave it to him like, yeah, I'm out. And walked out. That's disrespect. Well, he seen what we was doing to the Grand Sheik. So, no, man. And that's ever since that day more, I never went back. And then the more Moorish, he was getting on my case. Yo, man, I'm going down to the Black National Theater. I'm learning all this law. I'm like Islam, Mo. Okay, I already proclaimed my nationality. So he's like, yo, man, if you don't proclaim your nationality more, I ain't messing with you no more. Down at the theater. He's like, yo, if you don't proclaim your nationality down at the theater, I ain't messing with you. I can't be around you like that more. So I felt hurt. I'm like, damn. The more
this brother I grew up with, and he's telling me he ain't messing me no more if I don't go proclaim my nationality. So, yo, it was crazy, man. So then he like, yeah, man, when I be taking these young boys up in the store, you know what I'm saying, to be demonstrating and show them how I don't pay taxes, you know what I'm saying? You can stay there, you know what I'm saying, in the temple, in the Moorish temple in 21, you know what I'm saying? So I felt hurt. I'm like, damn. So I'm watching the so I'm like, you know what? Let me do some research. So I went on YouTube, did some research. Then I found your video. More different RV Bay publications and all of that, and Sister Rosmariah Bay. That's the one I watched. And then you was now. I was going to proclaim my nationality, but you know what I'm saying. When I seen you do the video, and you showed your nationality card, and then you showed the proclamation that you got your proclamation done and everything, and you broke it down. I'm like, yo, I'm going down there next week to go proclaim my nationality. You the reason why I proclaim my nationality.
But I thought you already proclaiming nationality in the temple,
bro. I was under the 501c3. That didn't mean nothing. I went back under Rome. Even your own Moors, man. Put you back in slavery. That's what Papa was talking about.
Okay, so talk about the card you got with your nationality, for your nationality. What card they gave you?
The Alodio American National card.
No, I'm talking about the temple.
At the temple? Which temple? At that one?
Yeah, 21. Yeah, what type of card they gave you?
Oh yeah, they gave me a per capita tax card. They gave me a something fund card. They gave me the nationality card. But why would I have a per capita tax card if the Prophet Noble Jolly told us that they're going to try to tax us to death? And you give me a per capita? What are you talking about? Only Europeans supposed to be paying taxes to us. This is crazy. Word, they was getting more, man. They was getting more. I ain't gonna say no names, man, but I can. Trust me.
Yeah, Moors are eating.
Yeah, Moors was eating, man. They be coming to see Temple 54. Yeah, now we went down to Supreme Court, and we went down there to go file our proclamation. They didn't want to file it, but under miscellaneous, they got Temple 54 and Temple number 13.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave us copies of their incorporation. Guess what we found out about Temple number 54?
That is under the 501c3.
And
wow.
Temple number 13, which is Temple number 1 in Brooklyn. They keep on talking about, how we not under 501c3. I have documentation showing that you are.
So what they saying that they not a non-profit organization, they for-profit, but
they're lying. They're lying. I have documentation that shows that they are under the 501c3, and that's what they started as in 1934. And the Temple 54? Man, Temple 54 is the one that is saying that we become the trustees of the Sester K Trust. Where did that language come from, and how do we don't know about it? How we don't know when our birth certificate is the Sester K Trust, and that they become the trustees of that trust? That's because they're a non-profit corporation. They get only donations. And one more thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna leave it at that. The Prophet said that he's not a non-profit corporation. He was registered under the Religious Corporation Act, and he said that basically, if you under the 501, he didn't say all of this part itself. If you under the 501c3 and you're not under the authority of the Prophet, original authority, no government officials and them type of people can come into your temple and say anything or even come into your temple. But in the 501c3 temple under Moorish Temple of America, that's under the 501c3, the government comes in every 6 months and checks how much money you've been making. So that shows the difference. If the government is coming into your temple and saying, yo, we got to check your books, and every 6 months, you're under the 501c3. You're not under the original authority of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Because he said, yo, he did this so that we would not have no molestation. That's why he changed it from the Moorish Holy Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is a religious corporation. That's our DPA. So Islam. So that's why I basically I was going to the theater. How you found out about? I'm gonna tell you right now. So now I'm watching the video. The more told me, you got to go down there and file with the court so you can you know what I'm saying, you can change your name. So I'm like, okay. So I went to the court, to the Supreme Court in Westchester County, Martin Luther King Boulevard, and I went there. I got the petition, and I was gonna do the whole family. They like, yo, you can't do it without the mother. So I'm like, damn. So this is a law just speaking to men. I came home. I'm like, yo, damn, baby, we gotta fill this out. You know what I'm saying? And all of us gotta proclaim our nationalities through the court. So she's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? She ain't really know too much about it. So now, I said to myself, you know what? Matter of fact, let me look up this name correction. So I put name correction in, and then I saw the video from our temple. Proclaiming your free national name. So I'm like, wow. So then I watched that video, and that was Nature LV. I'm like, oh snap! He showed the affidavit and all that, the proclamation with the gold seals on it. It's like, yo, man, this right here, this is the proclamation right here. We give proclamations in our temple. So I'm like, oh yeah. I gotta find him. I gotta find this brother. So I went down to the Black National Theater and I started asking around. I had Sister Mariah. Sister Mariah, she was like, yo, if you find one, I'll go with you. She was protecting she's protecting the temple. And
who did she mention that wasn't under the 501c3? Who did she mention?
She said if there's any temple that's not under the 501c3, you find it and I'm going to go there with you. I was deep. Like, so you mean all these temples out here is under the 501c3? She's like, if you find one, I'll go there with you. She was protecting I, the prophet, and the temple. So I respect her for that.
More. A lot of people really don't know what the 501c3 is. Could you just
I'm gonna break it down what is that? Now, 99% of the world is ran by the Pope of Rome as corporations. So when you say Jamaica, that's the name of a corporation. When you say Venezuela, it's the name of a corporation. These places is all corporations ran by the Pope. So-called. So what the prophet did is he filed under the Religious Corporation Act, and he put the title to our vast estate there.
Islam.
So what he did
so the prophet basically established his own authority separate from man's authority.
Right. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali put the deed in there, and he was the Prince of Morocco, so he's the one that is the one that
the prophet was our Pope.
Huh?
The prophet was our Pope?
Was the prophet what?
Our Pope, the Asiatic Pope.
The Asiatic Pope?
No,
he was the Asiatic Sultan. He was a Sultan is a religious leader. So he was our religious leader.
So the Pope is a religious leader also.
I don't care about all of that.
Yeah, all right.
You see, him being a religious leader. He ain't no religious leader. He followed what Noble Drew Ali did in 1926. And the Pope's authority comes from Chicago, Illinois, under the revised statutes. The Vatican is registered in Chicago, Illinois. They get their authority, but no one's authority, and there is no trust that's higher than the Prophet's trust. Called fee simple. Absolute trust is the highest trust known to man. Islam. The constructive trust is the birth certificate. Constructive trust is something taken away from a person and they're running it, but they're not the owner. Islam. So when the Prophet registered the Moorish Temple of America and put the deed there, the deed was to the whole planet. And it explains that in chapter 47 of the Holy Quran. And the Moorish Temple of America. So the 501c3 is a non-profit corporation under Dun & Bradstreet that is ran by the Pope. So when you think that you're filing taxes and you're doing all of that stuff, you're giving money to the Pope, 60%, and 40% to the Queen. Islam. That's a fifth ever since. The more Islam all studies, man. Yeah, but think the Great Depression was done Europeans? No, Noble Drew Ali, when he proclaimed his nationality in the Pan-American Conference, he backed up all the banks of the whole world because they didn't have the money to pay him back for all the slavery that they did to us. Guess what? He backed up all of those banks, and this is what he did. And got the land back for the land. No, because they didn't have the money to pay us back. They had to give up the deeds to their land. So that's when Noble Drew Ali got the deed to the whole planet, because he bankrupted all the world banks at the Pan American Conference in Havana, Cuba, 1928. So when he bankrupted all the banks, that's what the Great Depression is. That was in 1928. Because people was asking for the Prophet, like, yo, where's that noble brother? What's up, Marak? Oh no, that's Moran. What's up, man? Yeah, when the people was asking for the Prophet, like, where's the Prophet at? Stuff like that after he passed on. Because he told them to take their money out the bank. And they did. So they saved their gold and silver. Islam. And everybody else went bankrupt. So basically, because they didn't have enough money to give them.
Let me ask this too. We gotta throw what has Noble Drew Ali done? You know, we spoke a lot about, you know, experiences and, you know, what you've been studying or whatever, but just from both of you, the Prophet's message, you know what I mean? Like what is that to you?
Okay. That's me first?
Or don't matter, anybody.
I'll take it from here. Nawiel, Dr. Samuel Bay, taking the floor at this time. I mean, the Prophet is a reflection of the thought of Allah. So according to our divine instructions, Drew Ali is the physical representation of what we call a divine spirit incarnated. So in every holy text, it speak of a prophet coming out of the midst of the people, meaning amongst the brethren, meaning one that is able to show them a path that's like different from what they have been told from other people that invaded their land space or their regions or their territory. So all throughout history, we see that prophets are risen out of all kinfolks, out of all nations. So in this day and time, the prophet that was raised for us as the Moors in the northwestern hemisphere, which is called a Maxim, which we know now as America, was Noble Drew Ali. And what he had brought to me was the science of who we are, because a lot of people fail to understand that what Christianity did, it made us like docile, and it made us kind of like dumbed down in a way, because we don't really know how to explain anything. Like, there's no science behind Christianity because they don't teach science, because they think science is something outside of God, which science to me, based on my studies, is what is seen spirituality. So science means to know. So a lot of the teachings Drew Ali brought, he brought it in a context where we are learning how to be ourselves. And that was his teachings. He said, I came to teach you how to be yourself. And he brought us everything to be able to be ourselves. So that's why Moors are so like vast in our teachings, because there's Moors that are more advanced in knowing themselves than other Moors. So the prophet is a universal being because he acknowledges a universal creator, which is the source. And we call that source Allah. Even the prophet incarnation has a lot of significance, because a lot of people don't know that the name Timothy actually has a vibration to it that's dealing with the holy breath. And the name Timothy itself means he who honors the universal creator. And the name Jew means moving with the divine force. So he already had his incarnation with a vibration on a higher frequency. Because according to a lot of like Moors that wrote books on the prophet, this is one of them, Noble Souls. I just bought this book. I mean, I cop a few books that Moors wrote, but as far as a historical reference on how the prophet was, I've seen reads where they were saying the prophet was moving things with his mind. And for you to be able to be doing that, you got to be on some serious frequency of knowing who you are.
Straight up.
So, and he never kept that to himself. So I acknowledge the prophet, my prophet, Noble Jew Ali, as a true and living divine being that came manifest amongst those that was dead and was able to resurrect them from a dead state to a living perpendicular, like all other prophets have done in their time. And by me acknowledging that, it has unlocked a lot of divinity within myself, where I could follow, or not even follow, but learn from his examples. And he unlocked a lot of the junk DNA within my being, where I'm able to expound more on the things that I learned. So I read things for what they are. I don't really see things like how people see things with a veil. He basically removed the veils. So he told us that a mastermind sees things for what they really are, not for what they appear to be. So all Drew Ali teachings is in sync with the resurrection of man. And if you read any of the chapters dealing with the holy instructions, and you hear Yahshua speaking, I look at it as Drew Ali speaking. As simple as that, because it was divinely prepared. So I don't look at no prophet as being different, because all prophets are the thought of Allah manifest in flesh. So it don't matter what you call yourself. You could be a Buddha, you could be a Confucius, you could be a Yahshua, you could be a Moses. You still demonstrating the same will as Allah. That means that the universal Allah is one. And Allah and man is one. So this overstanding had took me to a higher level, dealing with my resurrection and my awakeness and my awareness of who I am, physically and spiritually. Like I was born with the appellation of, I'm gonna say my government because I don't have no shame, of Greg Taylor, right? My mother named me. So my mother named me Greg Taylor, but she thinks that she actually gave me a name that was significant to my being. But when I did the research, she actually did give me a name that was significant to my being. Because based on the teachings that I received from Drew Ali, I was able to trace myself back in time. And then I seen the name Greg, and I looked it up, and it's a German origin, and it speak about Greg being a vigilant person or somebody that's watchful. And when I type in the watchers pop up as the angels that was spoken of in Genesis, which was the sons of God that came down and made with the daughters of man, and then giants is being born. So when I did the science, I'm like, wow, like Drew Ali really was able to resurrect man, because I was able to find out that I am an angel. And that's also in our questionnaire. He said, what is the name of the present day, what is the name of the people, of those that guard in the holy city of Mecca? And the present name is called Asiatics. No, he said angels. And what is the present day of the angels? Name for the angels, Asiatics. And does the Moorish Americans have any relation to those angels? Yes. We all have the same father and mother, Islam. So before the prophet, man, I ain't never heard no teachers like this in my life. Is that I yield the floor, man?
Islam. Just a quick interjection. Somebody was asking about understanding more as far as Noble Drew Ali bankrupting the corporations. One thing that I wanted to give in there as a reference point was, remember that from the 30s into 33, you had people on the European side that were upset that the New Deal was about to go down. And they knew about the international bankers taking over. And they knew that there was a coup that was going on for the thing that was set up for Europeans to be over here. So the real remedy was for Europeans to go back home instead of go through the Great Depression in land that's not yours. Why don't you just go back home?
Exactly. Leave the land back to the natives or to the Aboriginal indigenous people.
And at that point, everything would have went right back into balance. Just like what Noble Drew Ali prophesied, you have, 4 men to carry the grapes and all that type of stuff.
And just like they did to us when they expelled us out of Europe. So if they don't convert to be subject to us, they got to go home. Right. And that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to have to convert to being subject to us. That's right.
Or being subject to our God.
Islam. Islam. Yeah. That's true. They did a good job of hiding it, but their time is up. Noble Drew Ali took off all the veils off all the secret societies and told them that he's going to make them start confessing their tongues. Watch the news. Watch the media. Mm-hmm. So they already knew what was coming. And that's exactly what's going to happen, though. They're going to have to subject to us or subject to our Creator. That's it. Right. That's right. Noble Drew Ali said 92% is going to pass form. He's going to take away 92% of the Europeans. That's almost 100%. So he's going to leave 8% around. All right. He said he like beans or peas, something like that. So they're great farmers. So they're gonna have to work off what they, they're gonna have to be able to work and make to eat.
Now, how would you justify Noble Drew Ali's prophethood. Because a lot of people, you know, they respect him. Yeah, he was a great man and all that stuff, but they're not recognizing him as the prophet.
I did a demonstration at that at the temple. Remember, we already went over that. Basically, what is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah manifest in flesh. How Drew Ali prophethood was justified was he made prophecies. He predicted certain things that was going to happen in the near future, and it came to pass. One of the prophecies that Drew Ali made, he said in quotation, "If a star and crescent did not appear on December 18, then I am not a prophet of Allah." It was on Friday, December 18, 1925, the star and crescent moon appeared in the heavens. Our universal creators signed to the people that Noble Drew Ali was to be the American prophet who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam to the people of America. On Saturday, December 19, 1925, Chicago Daily Tribune published this rare science of the planet Venus and the moon in conjunction. As always throughout our past times, some people did not believe in our prophet. It has been revealed in our holy books that to every nation there is a messenger, which is true. And they could read that in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. And that reads basically what I just said earlier, that every nation has their own prophet. Every nation. So his prophethood is not, don't even need no justification. His works itself speak for itself. That's like Yahshua when he was in the wilderness and he was questioning his messiahship. When he was battling his lower self in the wilderness and he was questioning his messiahship. Remember, all prophets are the thoughts of Allah manifest in flesh. But it's not all prophets that are messiahs. Drew Ali was anointed. He was an anointed prophet. He's not no prophet like how they say Elijah, Muhammad is a prophet. Nah. I'm talking a true living prophet that came from the midst of us. That's Drew Ali. In our time, that's Drew Ali. Because all his teachings are universal. I could talk to anybody on this planet dealing with their so-called religion, and based on this Moorish science teaching that the prophet brought to us, I could deal with them on their level. That's how much information the prophet had brought us to free ourselves. When what he said, I gave you enough to free a nation. He said, I've given you enough to free a nation. You know how many people exist in a nation for you to make that statement?
Right.
And then he said, so if I've given you enough to free a nation, why you just don't use it to free yourself? You might as well. And everybody that studied the prophet have freed themselves if they truly are a student of Drew Ali. And with that, I yield the floor.
Islam. Yeah, Morris. Yo.
Drew Ali was a true and living divine prophet. And he got his anointed title by other people from other nations, but of the same kin that acknowledges messiahship. That's why he was given that divine title of El Sharif Abdul Ali. Because like it was in the past times, it's always other people acknowledge a true leader, a true divine spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they were treating Yahshua in those times? They were saying the same thing, that yo, who told him he was the son of God?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they doubted him too.
Yep.
My perception of the prophet is that, you know, we have been going through this for a long time, mental slavery, physical slavery, and there has actually been nobody, spiritual too.
Yeah.
You know, there's no one that had come to save us from that. You know, and then Noble Drew Ali was ordained by Allah.
Exactly. That's why I said he was a Messiah. He was more than a prophet.
You know, so he came and he brought what we needed to save ourselves. You know,
Islam.
He brought the divine teachings and the science.
Yep.
You know?
Which we call Moorish science.
That's right. Temple. Exactly. So Noble Drew Ali, to me, you know, he was divinely prepared. And I'm grateful to Noble Drew Ali. And I'm grateful to all of the conscious Moors that's doing the right thing and bringing the true science of what Noble Drew Ali left and brought.
Which is universal.
Which is universal. He's a universal prophet. That means he's not only working down here, he's also working up there in a soul plane, wherever he's at. in the whole universe. So, you know, he left this, he made the prediction of us to come. So
eyes wide open.
Right. Eyes wide open. So now it's our time, and it's on us to wake our people up.
To carry the torch.
That's right. Because we're supposed to go and straighten out them brothers in the East and they false teachings and all that stuff. So, you know,
we got to wake up these sleepy Moors over here first.
Yeah, they reckless. Moors, man. There's a lot of Moors that's waking up, though, man. Every time I walk around, they, hey, yo, Islam Moor? You a Moor? Well, yeah. It's like, oh, all right. You know what I'm saying? Where y'all be studying at?
For real.
And I give it to them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't give people the temple. I don't give people the temple because, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of agents out there, so
what you give them? What do you steer them to?
I tell them to come to the class that we be having in Mount Vernon.
No, well, as far as something they could go jump on right away at their time, on their own time. What you give them?
Oh, they can go to RV Bay Publications.
Islam.com.
Word. You have a whole line of bunch of stuff to study there. You would not get you would not like you'll be there for a year studying. 2 years still studying. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you want to study something, study the truth. You know?
For real.
And Islam to you, Grand Sheikh Cujo, because, you know what I'm saying? I give honor to you because you was there, you know what I'm saying? You were one of the elder Moors to me. You know what I'm saying? You older than me. Anybody older than me is my elder. So it's like you was there for me, you know what I'm saying? So I love you for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Giving us opportunities, you know, and putting the truth out there. Like you are consistent with the truth all day, every day, Mo.
Islam, for real.
Mo?
Islam.
Word. So I got to give honor where honor is due, Mo. You are more.
I got one of the Moors. I have one of the Moors publication, the 77 Amazing Facts About the Moors, written by Cujo Ador L. and the brother Rami Salam El. So I learned some great deal of information from this book alone, more.
Yeah.
So Islam for that attention, for that publication, man. You've been doing great work throughout the years, and I love you for that also, man. I have another book I purchased from you. I got the other one called Nationality, the Order of the Day, the Divine Message and Warning, all the Garveyite, Rastafarian, Black nationalists, and Pan-Africanists. This book is beautiful, bro.
Yeah, that was my favorite. That was my favorite one right there.
Yeah, I'm going through it. I'm like, yo, you made the connection with Selassie, because I always wondered, like, why is it that when the prophet transcended, that's when Selassie I get crowned?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Somebody else had to step in.
Crazy.
Somebody else had to step in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Qualified. You know, nobody
yeah, and
better.
his teachers.
Yep.
What else? What else?
Yep. That was
amazing. And you already see how the other Moorish Rastafarian brethren acknowledge Selassie as a Messiah.
Yep.
So the teachings one and the same. We just talking about father and son, Kush and Ham. Islam.
Straight up.
Yeah, man.
It's that real.
And we wouldn't have known none of this if it wasn't for the prophet. Because even though there was Moors here before the prophet incarnated, they weren't out there like that. Like, a lot of the Moors were Masons.
Yeah.
And Noble Ali, he's the first one to bring Islam to North America.
Yep.
There's books, like different books, like Islam in America, and I'm reading it, and it's talking about Noble Drew Ali, and then it goes into the word Nation of Islam. But Nation of Islam is when Noble Drew Ali predicted the star and the crescent in the sky at the same time, on December 18th, until 1925. That was called the Nation of Islam. That's when it was called the Nation of Islam. So the Moors are
the true nation of Islam.
That's right. That's right.
For real.
We are the Nation of Islam. And then you know how we don't, not to throw no shade or nothing, you know, on the nation, but you know, in the dictionary when you're looking up Black Muslim, it says what's his brother name? It says that's crazy. I forgot his name like that. Elijah Muhammad is the founder of the Black Muslims. So what are you talking about this black stuff? When you have the true teachings, you know, and you proclaim the nationality under Noble Drew Ali. As Elijah Poole Bey. As soon as he passes form, you trying to open up mosque this, that.
Yeah.
And they shutting it down.
Yeah.
The government is shutting it down because we didn't have Islam on it.
Straight.
Yeah, so then you got the Temple of Islam, and that's the only one that they didn't shut down, and he kept on going from there. So, you know, you have to mix truth with falsehood. That's so you could prosper and be somebody when you're supposed to be focusing on your higher self, which is the truth. You know, so Islam. I just want to mix truth with falsehood, man.
This is something I just want to add real quick. This is a student dictionary that I came across. A little student dictionary. Let me look at the name of the type of dictionary real quick. It's a student dictionary, second edition. A student dictionary, gazetteer, the student dictionary. But anyway, I just wanted to read the definition of what they have here for Muslim, Muslim, right? Yeah. It says a Muslim, then it has in the Phoenician brackets, M-U-Z-L-E-M, Muslim. And then it says a noun, and it says a follower of the religion that believes in Allah as the one God and the teachings of Muhammad as written in the Quran. And the way they spell Quran is the way we spell our Quran, K-O-R-A-N, not the Q Quran. Exactly. Islam. Right. So we have the correct spelling of the Quran. That's right. And when those presidents swear they oaths to the United States of America, they put their hand on the K-O-R-A-N Quran. Islam, the Q-U-R-A-N. And you've seen Obama letting the people know that according to Treaty of Tripoli in the United States, that no way this country was founded on Christianity. Yes. It was founded on Islam, and that Morocco is the first one to recognize his country as a nation. Mm-hmm. So he was given honors to, you know what I'm saying? Moors. It is what it is. So Moors just need to wake up because, you know, a lot of Moors think they come from Africa, and, you know, Noble Drew Ali didn't really talk dirty about Africa. He never did. He was just saying, like, we from a certain side and you from a certain side, and the whole thing needs to be united. The uniting of Asia. We need to unite the whole planet back to the way Moabites was ruling the world, our ancient forefathers and foremothers. You know, they say, oh yeah, you come from Africa, we African America. So a Mexican, which is from North America, they telling them, oh, you got to get deported to Mexico if you do something wrong over here. But if one of us that they called Black or African American gets locked up, how come we don't go back to Africa? If we African American, if we get locked up right here in America. Mm-hmm. And then now you're talking about, oh, yeah, we came from Africa, but where that part is where they say Southeast, that's called Southeast Africa. Then above it is Northeast Africa. So now you got over here Southwest, which is South America. That's Southwest Africa. So then I ask people, if all of that, where is Northwest Africa? They keep saying, oh yeah, at the top of Southeast Africa, that's Northwest. No, it's not. Northwest Africa is over here. So you keep thinking that you came from Africa. No, you standing in Africa. And Northwest Africa, which is Northwest America, Northwest of Mexico. So Noble Drew Ali made the tie and the connection by giving up etymology. A Mexim. The true and divine name of Africa is a Mexim.
Islam.
So they can't fool us.
They definitely can't fool
cannot
us.
Fool us.
Islam. Just before we close out, we just wanted to put on the record. Yesterday, Brother Hassan had sent me something. Just make sure you look up Howard University alum opens the Moor, a hotel paying homage to Black culture.
you say that again, more?
Howard University. Howard University alumni opens the Moor.
Okay.
A hotel paying homage to Black culture. Now he says Black culture, but you know, he says Black culture, but this is what he says. At the Moor, we decided to pay homage to Moorish culture mainly based on the architecture. The property naturally has beautiful archways and carved woodwork that we really wanted to play up with our design aesthetic. Thus, the name felt fitting for us. When we think about the Moors, we think about their impact globally, and it coincides with the multicultural history of New Orleans perfectly. If y'all don't know who Moors are, then y'all should do your research.
Islam.
So Islam to the Moor hotel in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Islam to you, brothers, if you want to do if you have anything to plug or any shout outs before we close out.
Okay.
Let's just expound on the song real quick. I said,
yeah,
that song that we did called So Plain to See, that's actually my daughter on the chorus singing. Her appellation is Tamani Princess Ariel Bey.
Islam.
So the Morzama L was trying to find a female singer for that song. And we couldn't really get a sister to sing the song. So I was able to convince my daughter to sing it because she was shy. She never sang before on a record. She never sang for anybody, in front of anybody. And it was so divinely prepared that we had another Asiatic brother that was experiencing my presence and how I was building on my history and my culture, that he offered to do that song for me for free and shoot the video for free.
Wow.
If I was able to be on one of his blind date shows.
For real.
Wow. So and I spit my verse for the brother, and he loved the song so much that he gravitated to the Moors like he was one of us.
Islam.
With that I say
Islam. Yeah, I would like to give honors to Canaanland Moors. Give honors to Black National Theater, or how we would say the Moorish National Theater. And I would love to give honors to our temple in Asbury Park, Grand Sheik, Sheikh Nika, and all the sheiks, all the members, and give love and respect to all the Canaanland Moors and all the New York Moors, all the Moors all over the world. You know who you are. All to the conscious Moors, you know, and I love my Moors. Soon we'll all know what's his name? Nas said it. Sooner or later, we'll all know who the prophet is.
For real.
Islam.
Islam.
The problem is, more they started thinking like the colonists. The Noble Drew Ali started dropping that consciousness.
Islam.
And the first time I heard that skit or that sample was through Cujo Ador L track.
That's right.
If Cujo didn't put that track out, I would have never knew Nas said that.
Facts.
Islam.
That song blew my mind. I'm like, yo, did Nas just say that? Yo.
That's what I said.
Oh man, that was crazy, bro.
Straight.
Yo, let's let Cujo know that when we started first traveling to New Jersey, Asbury territory, we was bumping nothing but Canaanland music in our wig. Straight Cujo,
Right.
all the way to Jersey, an hour and a half, 2 hours, nothing but Moorish music.
Islam.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what that's
right.
for. That's what that's for.
Yep.
So shout out to all the Moors. I want to say give thanks again to the brothers for being here. Just make sure you send the Islam and the love to everybody out there at where you're at. And don't forget Moors, 9:30 Eastern Time, MHHS, eyes wide open, 347-945-5899. The line might be full, but it's all right. Let's keep trying. Islam.
Islam.
Peace, boy.
It's like Noble Drew Ali and Allah was always on my mind.
Oh, how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
They call me an Indian, but I'm Moorish American. How many wish death upon me? Many, like 50 cents. They taking the dollars and giving a cent. Real money is gold and silver, but for these fiats, your own brother will kill you like Jesus and Judas. We honor all true divine prophets like Muhammad and Buddha. Confucius, don't try to confuse us.
Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
Higher boat. Now here we go. You better watch the approach when you hear the flow. Drew Ali set the record straight and never hesitate, bringing nationality to every soul. In America, north, south, east, west coast, we got the remedies because we need it the most. Know all the enemies or revealing they oath and leaving they post, but don't need to boast in this Moorish movement. The prophet played a major role. Ex-alpha climbing up the totem pole, as above, so below. You better hold your own when battling with foes, making sure that all your strategies are bold. No matter where we go, yo, the family is known, because we already know that the planet is our home. More navigators been traveling the globe.
Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali brought us nationality. Oh, it's so plain to see how we can be free, 'cause Noble Drew Ali taught us nationality.
330 Moors killed my prophet Noble Drew Ali. He never left around the 501c3, a non-profit corporation. What you trying to kill the nation? My brothers and sisters, it's my inspiration in the young years for this Moorish nation. Whether you black, Chinese, or Haitian, the prophet taught the freedom Moors to found laws, act for, and you must live the life accordingly. Cause love, peace, freedom, and justice is what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah, the truth shall make me free. Oh, coming the truth, it was my prophet to Ali. I wanted the truth. Oh, yeah, the truth shall make me free. Oh, coming the truth, it was my prophet to Ali. Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali.
I'm Moorish American nationality. Peace.